Afternoon, YouTubers. Okay, today's video is going to be about cutting tools. My hopes is that I'm going to be able to do a few videos on each of the first 5 C's of survival. This one is just going to be, well, they're all basically going to follow the same format. It's going to be discussion of what kind of items are in each of the 5 C's. Different varieties, and I'll go over some of my favorites and some of the most popular styles. And then I might do, proper usage, tips and tricks. I might do 2 to 3 videos on each of the C's. This first one, though, I believe is the most important, because without it, it makes living in the wild, like surviving in the wild, very difficult. You can get by without it, but it's it's the cutting tool. In other words, an edged tool, like a knife, an axe, a machete, technically a saw, even though I don't really see a saw as something in the first 5 C's. Yes, they're very nice to have. You can cut wood with them into manageable pieces. You can also technically split wood with them if it's straight grained, if it's sturdy enough. But that still takes a fair amount of work. And I don't trust my life to a flimsy piece of steel, like a thin little piece of steel that I've seen saw blades snap, or hand saws, those folding saws. Those are good saws, but 1, they take up space. 2, they're basically a unitasker. I cannot think of a third thing they can do. I mean, okay, yes, cutting into pieces, yes, but I mean, it takes a while. You can technically split wood with it, and then there's another thing you can do with it, I guess, is make tinder. You just scrape down the edge of it, but honestly, I'd rather have an axe or a machete if I was going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to discuss with you the different types of, first of all, knives, and then axes, and then I'm going to call it machete / other. Or, well, I'll probably do machete and then other. So give me just a sec. I'm going to get this all set up behind me, and I'll have a little sample set up for you. Alright, thanks for sticking with me. Okay, so as you can see, I've got quite the variety of things laid out here, cutting tools laid out here. And going from left to right, we have folding knives, except for that. Okay, we have folding knives, we have fixed blade knives, we have axes, we have machetes, and other. Okay, we're going to start with the folding knives. Folding knives are typically a backup. As you can see, I've got various Opinel knives, I've got a buck knife, cheap little pocket knife, a couple Smith & Wessons. None of these knives cost me more than 20 bucks, except for that guy right there. That was a gift to me, and they usually run about 40 to 50. That is a buck 110, phenomenal knife, good, very, very good knife. Let's see, these Opinels, I've got this older one that was also a gift to me. As you can see, I've got a hair tie wrapped around it because it doesn't have the relief notch in it like the newer ones do. I've been considering possibly cutting out the notch there, or just leaving this the way it is. But this blade is 90 degrees. It's fairly sharp edged. This is their 3-inch. This is their 3-inch, 3-ish inch knife. If I can get it open, I'll show you. And these knives, they stay razor sharp. They are a full flat grind. They polish up very well. Very high carbon steel. Very nice edge. Very thin and very lightweight. But at the same time, it fits your hand fairly well. And while I wouldn't use it for prying or batoning, I could use it for fine carving, such as if I wanted to make pieces for a deadfall trap. Same with this guy here. This is actually my favorite Opinel that I have. It's the 4-inch blade one, if I can get it to open. And it's got a little stain there, but that just shows that it's used. Very nice. I mean, I don't have extraordinarily large hands, but I mean, it fits pretty well. I could use that as a paring knife. I mean, I think these knives both cost me, like, one was $7 and one was $10 or $11. Not that expensive. This guy here I got in a set for, I think, $10 for the set. There's this one, there's a smaller one, and there's a fixed blade version of this with a little longer blade, but not a bad edge, pretty respectable, could use a little work. I don't really like the recurve blades, and I've got a bigger one that I'm going to show you. I don't like the recurve blades where they basically, the blade curves right in here, back up toward. I mean, it's good for feather sticks and whatnot, but it's a pain to keep sharp. I got my 110 here. This is the newest version of the Buck 110. There it is. You know, good heavyweight knife. Hardwood panels, brass, good decent steel blade. Keeps a fairly sharp edge. Has a pretty razor sharp edge from the factory. This little detail they have up here, see if I can get that in there. Anyway, there you go. It's beveled. So you have that edge right there, which is good for smoothing down, like, say, an axe handle or something. You take it and you just, and this is a lockback, so excuse me just a sec while I close it. Alright, sorry about that. I had to cut while I closed that so I didn't cut myself. Alright, looks like, alright. This is a pretty decent little $10 to $15 knife, sheepsfoot knife. Very rigid blade, very easily sharpened. Very, very stout for, you know, a folding knife. One of my favorite utility knives. Got a pretty short, stubby blade, and you know it's there in your pocket, but then again, it's not so heavy that you don't want to carry it. Not the sharpest knife in the world, but I mean, it's a good cheap knife if you need one in a pinch. This guy, I don't know what they call this one. The Smith & Wesson HRT. I don't know. It's I mean, good lightweight knife. It's got the paraframe style, so it's a frame lock instead of a liner lock. The frame is the liner, but like I said, it's got that recurve in it, which is good for fire sticks or feather sticks. The edge on the top third stays pretty sharp, and it's got a pretty cool design. But again, I don't like sharpening that recurve section. The next one we're going to move on to is these fixed blade knives, and the most expensive one was that one right there. That is my baby. That is my favorite. Oh, out of these, that one's my favorite as a secondary carry knife. I might make a canvas or leather sheath or pouch to carry it in, or just repurpose one of my old ones. Alright, we'll start at the top up here. Ignore that. That's obviously not a knife. That's not a knife. This is a knife. This is, I believe, cold steel. It's 440 stainless steel. It is the Hero Edge, I guess. It's a big clip point. It's I think the overall length is like 15 inches. It's a very, very large knife, very robust knife. There's been a few reviews on them, and people have beat them to hell and back, and have bought more. The edge actually sharpens up respectably. Stays sharp. I actually used this as a kitchen knife for the longest time for cutting up chicken and beef and whatnot. I have removed the guard from it simply because I don't like the guard. It adds extra bulk to it, and it's got the choil right there plus that little lip, which it's a slightly rubberized grip, so I mean you're not really going to slip forward with it unless you're like stabbing a tree, which I don't know why you'd stab a tree. Trees haven't done nothing to you. Yeah, there's that one. I think I spent $10 plus shipping and handling. This guy here, same kind, 440 stainless. It's their spear point one. I believe they call that a drop point, but it looks more like a spear. Anyway, again, same, actually softer rubberized handle. It's got the grip there. This one I'm leaving the guard on because it does not have the choil right there. It's got a lanyard hole, good, robust knife, fairly thick, about that's a little over 1/8 of an inch. Very, very heavy knife. I could use that for chopping, hacking, whatever. Comes with a nice Cordura sheath. It's got the big wide belt loop. If I wanted to, I could attach more stuff to it just by sewing on some Velcro or whatnot. Before you get excited, this guy right here is not a K-bar. It is a K-bar imitator. It is a cheaper one. BK. I don't remember where I got this, but just because it's an imitator does not mean it is any less useful. I mean, I've been working on this a little bit. As you can see, I'm going to round that over because all it was aluminum on the back of it, like an aluminum pommel. I'm going to round that over so it's got something solid, or round it off and thread a skull crusher on there. Just simply so I can have something sturdy. But these are leather pieces, and then inside there is rubber. Actually, it's not leather in there like normal. Good knife. I think it ran me $20. Good for batoning. Nice and thick. It's got a pouch for the sharpening stone that comes with it. That basically is a pumice stone, so I don't use those. I've modified it a little bit. Added a ring there for the belt. Got the strap. Made that myself. Stitched it on for my leg. And I realize it's not adjustable for like extra gear or anything like that, but hey, it was a cheap knife. This guy right here though, this is my baby. This is the bush lore. The Condor bush lore. Comes in this very nice leather sheath. Very sturdy stitching for this belt loop. I believe it's it's about a 4-ish, roughly 4-inch blade. Scandi grind, very thick, 1/8 of an inch, full tang, goes all the way back. Very nice hardwood handle, brass pins, and I believe that is a brass lanyard hole. As you can kind of tell, I've used this knife quite a bit in the 2.5, 3 weeks that I've had it. Still shaving sharp. I'm not going to do a shaving video because most of you would laugh at me because I don't have very much facial hair, so I don't want to hear it. Alrighty, we're going to move on to axes. There is 3 main types of axes that we need to worry about right now. First of all, there's a felling axe, which I have technically one right there, not with a handle. There is a splitting axe, which I don't have one, and then there's what's called a hatchet, a camp axe, a boy's axe, whatever. It's roughly the same size axe head. It's just the length of the handle is what dictates what kind of axe it is. This is a hatchet. This is a cobalt hatchet. I've wrapped it in paracord, obviously, and it is actually orange, not pink like the camera is showing. This is the Fiskars X7. Very, very good. Very sharp. I mean, I had to sharpen it a little bit when I got it because I like to have my stuff super sharp, but I have obviously used this a lot. And through all that, it stays pretty sharp, splits pretty well for short stuff. This guy here, this is more my utility one. It weighs a little more than my Fiskars, but it's still, I mean, I've had it for a while, used it for a while, polished it up. It usually comes with black, but I sanded all that off and it's damn near a mirror finish. Like when it's completely polished up, it is a mirror finish. And then this is just an axe I found in a friend's yard, and I was doing some work on that today. It's pretty sharp. Yeah, fairly sharp. I was taking my flap wheel to it and sanding it down, getting all the pits out of it, making it nice and sharp, nice and shiny. And I just made this handle out of a piece of oak, and I don't know how well it's going to stand up because usually it's made out of like hickory or something a little more flexible, but oak should do pretty well. I mean, it's not perfect by any means. It's missing a little bit, but hey, it was a hack together thing. I just needed something with a handle on it. Those are my hatchets. They all stay pretty sharp. The one that I carry with me, however, is the Fiskars, and it sits right there in that spot. There's a little retention strap right there, and it stays on my pack and it stays out of the way. And when I hang that pack up on a tree with my quick link, it stays right there within reach. So I can just drop it in there, put the little latch down, and it's good to go. Okay, next is this felling axe. It did come with a handle, and it did come with about 10 pounds of rust, but it did come with those gouges right there. I did not do that. I would never do that to this axe. Very, very good hard edge from right about here up. That's super, super hard there. I can't even touch it with a file. There's a little bit of damage to this thing, but all in all, it's pretty good. I mean, there's a little bit of a crack right there. I don't know how much that'll affect it. A little bitty crack right there, but it doesn't seem to go through very far. I mean, if it does break, then oh well, I've got, you know, a wedge. I think I paid $10 for this with the handle at a flea market. Polished it up pretty good. I've still got a lot more work to do on it, obviously. I got to take my flap wheel to it, get all this crap off of here. Pretty sharp edge. I mean, I dulled it whatever I was working with it so I didn't cut myself, but I mean, this is a felling axe. This is a 4.5 pound, almost 5 pound axe that if I wanted to go chop down a tree, I could go chop down a damn tree. But that is not what I would carry with me if I was going backpacking with that pack. If I was going camping, I would take that with me because that would be perfect for splitting because it's nice and wide. Be perfect for splitting little logs. I would also take this guy right here because that is my pack axe. That would be taken for cutting down trees that are, you know, 3 inches or smaller. Technically I could use my knife for it, but I don't want to use my knife for that if I've got an axe. So we are going to move on to this category, other. Alrighty. This is going to be considered machete / other. Mainly because there are so many types of machetes out there. Sorry about that. There's so many types of machetes out there, and let me add this one to it, that basically every corner of the world has its own machete. And then, of course, you got multi-tools and stuff like that, but we'll get into that in a minute. First of all, your standard bolo machete, I think. It is now a bolo machete. It did have a tip on it, but I cut those teeth into it. This is, I think it's a cold steel machete. Again, $10. They got a lot of cool stuff for $10. It's not the prettiest, not the most effective, but it does the job. And I mean, that's fairly thick for a machete. But I mean, this will work in lieu of not having anything. I mean, I replaced the handle on it because I don't like their plastic piece of crap handles, but there's that one. That's just your run-of-the-mill machete. Others are straight, others are, you know, they'll run straight through here and then just come down like that, and that's okay. I mean, any machete is better than no machete, unless you already have a knife or something. Like if you don't have a cutting tool and your only option is a machete, like that piece of crap there, then yeah, grab it and go. Another type of machete is the parang, and this one is the Bear Grylls Junior parang, I guess. I got it for like 15 bucks. It was cheap. Pretty nice little sheath, Cordura, foam, whatever. It's got a plastic liner. I've modified the crap out of it so it'll actually fit the molly webbing, and that's actually on a drop down platform. Good short little machete, very very thick for a machete too. I mean, that is like twice as thick as that other one. Fairly sharp. I mean, it's got a real nice cutting edge on it. It's got like almost a hollow grind. I think it is a hollow grind. Yeah, that's hollow grind, and it's got two facets on it. Sweeps forward like a parang. The only thing I don't like about it really is this really super thin handle. I mean, again, I don't have monster hands, but damn, that is super super thin. If I was going to use this for any extended period of time, I would take that off of there, and I would actually put a wooden handle on it, kind of like that one. But yeah, that is, and the only reason I bought that, again, it was 15 bucks. I don't like to spend a whole lot of money on stuff I'm going to be using. I didn't buy it because it was Bear Grylls. I bought it because it was a parang. I'm not personally a fan of Bear Grylls. Just, I mean, we're not going to get into that here. But, I mean, there's particular people that I am a fan of, and he's not one of them. I mean, yes, he's kind of weird, funny, but that's not survival. That's, hey, look what I can do. Anyway, this is called a bush hook. That's what it is, a bush hook. I spent 25 bucks on this, just like with my Fiskars axe. This is the Fiskars bush hook. Same hollow handle as the axe, hatchet, whatever, except this has a hole in it for hanging slash, you know, holding it in place. When it comes to you, well, when it came to me, it had this crap on the edge, this gray coat on the edge to where it was super super dull. I had to take a file to that and sharpen it up, and it's got a respectable edge on it now. The thing I like about it though is you can get a lot of power from down here. You can choke up on it a little bit, you can choke up on it here, and you can even choke up on it on here and do some fine carving. And the reason I like this over this machete is because this one is sharp up here on that edge. This one is not. So if I wanted to get my other hand right up here and use it as like a draw knife and pull it toward me, I could. I mean, carefully watching for that tip, but the tip is pretty much blunt. That's a very versatile tool. Again, fairly thick. It's a little thicker than the Bear Grylls parang. Honestly, between this and this, given they have the same rig or something, I would take this in a heartbeat. Simply because it's more versatile. The parang is a little short. I mean, even if I had the full-size one, I wouldn't take it, because if I'm going to be making a shelter, I need smooth poles, because most of the time I'm carrying a tarp, and I don't want my tarp to have a hole in it. And axes and knives, just, okay, axes aren't fine enough, knives aren't heavy enough. This will get the job done a lot easier with not a whole lot of effort. So there's that. We are going to go into other category. This is just like a $15 Stanley multi-tool. I mean, you can go for, you know, $50, $60, $80 Leatherman, whatever. This has pliers, obviously, wire cutters, good for snares. It's got a saw in there, and when you're buying a multi-tool, if you're buying it because it has a saw, make sure it has an actual saw. I'll show you the difference here in a second. That's actually an effective saw. I've used it. Very sharp teeth. I could care less about the screwdriver, the awl, and the can opener. I mean, the can opener would be nice if I took cans with me. It's also got a file, which it's got a two-sided file, a smooth file, and a double cut file. And it's also got a blade on it, and this blade is actually fairly sharp. I mean, it wasn't super sharp when I got it, so I had to sharpen it up, but I will show you what a run-of-the-mill multi-tool looks like in comparison to that. That one there starts the good ones, as far as I know. I have yet to find one for under 15 bucks. That starts good one. Really good one. Alright, this is just like, I don't know, just a cheap, I mean, wire cutters are probably pretty decent. I mean, there's a gap. As you can see, there's a gap there. I would file off something in there. I mean, just so I could get proper grip. I'll show you what I was talking about, though, as far as having a good saw. This one does not have a good saw. The teeth are technically sharp on the tip, but that's not going to cut very much. I would use that for scaling, or like scraping instead of cutting. I mean, the teeth are slightly angled. They're slightly angled, but they're just not sharp. The file is decent, but the teeth just suck on that. And I mean, I would use that as a backup at the very, very most. I would never take this as my personal, because it's all made of stainless steel. The blade isn't even that great on it. I mean, it's, again, stainless steel. Very, very difficult to sharpen without power tools, and you could lose the temper very, very easily. I mean, you have to really, really try to put an edge on that. But I keep it just as a backup, just in case, because a dull cutting tool, even if it's your only option, is still a cutting tool. Now, I might do another video on application of these various tools, but that all depends, because there's so many ways. Like, I probably won't do one on each and every one of these. I might take for knives, axes, and machetes, I might just do one for each of those, or all in one for all of them. Just basic tips and techniques. Alright, sorry about that. I had to put the camera back on the bipod, or tripod. And, alright, what I was saying is, I gotta have some more days off. I got a trip coming up next week. I work for the next 5-6 days, and then after that I'm going on a trip. I won't be back till probably the next week, and I doubt I'm gonna have time to do any more videos. But what I'm gonna do is do basic tips, techniques, ways to keep yourself from getting hurt while using your tools, ways to maintain your tools, some tips I've picked up, easy ways to sharpen, easy ways to keep sharpened, cleaning, maintenance, and then just, you know, all around tips, tricks, some stuff you may or may not have thought of before that you can use particular things for. But this video is probably getting pretty long now. I know I've done a few little short clips, snippets, just for resetting and whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the day. You know, if you liked it, click the like button, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. If you are, thank you. If you hit that subscribe button, thank you. Leave comments, you know, concerns, complaints, whatever. Give me something to do during the day whenever I'm bored at work. So I guess until next time, stay beautiful, YouTube.